coming. You're running. The Wolves are coming. You're running. The Wolves are coming. Good evening, everyone. It's Sunday night, so of course it is extra time. The final word on the weekend's action. Loads coming up in this one, of course. Talking about the weekend, what our pundits have taken out the game from the weekend. We're going to be talking about the Wolves' latest transfer talk, looking ahead to the summer. We'll have Room 101 tonight. Wait for that one. It's going to be interesting. And then we've got your Q&A for the guys at the end. As always, I do like to say, of course, a massive big thank you to Creation Wolf, the local company, for powering tonight's extra time, delivering the latest and most advanced digital solutions. They'll take your brand and presence, digital capability to the next level. You can find them in the description below, creationwolf.com. Now, I have got two fantastic guests for you this evening and another one on the way. First of all, it's great to have you back, Jack. I know you've been a little unwell. So how's your health at the moment?
Yeah, not too bad. Touch wood at the minute. Obviously, I'm not going into great details, but with Crohn's, it's kind of very up and down. So, and it can
hits you out of nowhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's the kind of just an instant sort of almost washes over you in a wave, and you just kind of like, today's not my day, but you just kind of hope that tomorrow's a little bit better. And touch wood, I've had a few good days recently, so that's a positive,
which is great. And we've also joined tonight by Sutty. Hello, mate. How's it going?
Good evening, David, Jack, everybody else.
Good evening.
And how are you, pal?
After yesterday, well, we're safe, aren't we? So that's the main thing for me, to be honest.
It is, but we can still analyse it and give our thoughts and where we're all at and everything. Hopefully, we're going to be joined later on in the show by charismatic Craig, who's on his way currently back from band practice. So he'll join us a little bit later. If you want to get on for your 2 minutes, please do so. You can jump on in the green room. We'll get you on for a couple of minutes for your points. And we have got already a few video submissions that we've been seeing. And I'm going to kick off with one of those to get one of those going. And it is good old Jeff from the US of A.
Hey, Dave, Wolfman Jeff here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Disappointed with the results. Wasn't too surprised. How do I word this? I think when I saw that Vito was put as the manager of the month, probably assumed that usually right after you get that, you take a step down. And we didn't play poor, but it wasn't enough. So it wasn't a bad performance, but it just wasn't enough to pull it through. I think it was much tighter in the first half. I think the first goal that they got in, they got a little lucky with the penalty, but they got in. And I think we still kept things pretty well maintained. Second half, made some bold changes, which was interesting. It could go either way. And I don't think it really improved. I don't think it dropped dreadfully, but there's just not quite enough. It could have gone either way there. But after the second goal, it just felt like, okay, we're just going to ride this out. It's a weird thing because we know we're not really going to change too much on the table. But I was hoping we were going to continue to ride high on our spirits for the rest of the year, which we've not really done in quite a long time, where we've had a nice run at the end of the year. So we got 2 more matches to maybe get some more points before the year's out. So again, not dreadful, just not enough to win. So, hey, always Wolves.
Absolutely. It's great to have the Wolfman back on as well, which is absolutely fantastic. Jack, I'm going to go to you first, mate. You might want to just give your thoughts on yesterday, but you might want to also give your thoughts on the general mood around Wolves at the moment, and if there's any kind of updates that you can give anyone on the fans advisory board as well, that would be interesting, whatever you can say on that.
Yeah, no, I think on yesterday's game, I don't think we played badly. I think we've played better recently, and I think that's probably where a lot of the sort of the frustration comes from, because we've seen what this group of players are capable of in recent weeks. It was quite a cagey game. I thought there wasn't a huge amount between the two teams. Our final ball wasn't there yesterday. We got into some really good positions, particularly down the flanks, and the final cross or the cutback just kind of found a Brighton player rather than someone for us to kind of get a shot away or get something on target. And then I think Jeff sort of touched on it there, didn't he? The 4 subs in one go, the sort of the Hail Mary, if you like, from Vitor, kind of let's just completely change everything. For me, that kind of came sort of 15 minutes too early. I think that's the kind of thing you do with sort of 10, 15 minutes to go. Whatever you've been trying for 70 minutes, 75, hasn't been working. Let's just completely flip it around and see how they cope with something totally different. It just left the game very, very open for me. And I think it's okay bringing on attacking players and trying to get some energy into the performance, but you have to keep a shape and a structure, and you have to be solid when you haven't got the ball. And I don't think we were for the last sort of 20, 25 minutes. It became very much, we'll have an attack, it'll break down. You come and hit us on the break. Hopefully we won't concede, and then we'll come and have another go at you. And that doesn't really suit the players that we've got, and it doesn't really suit the style that I think Vitor wants to do. So I think one for him to kind of wear, if you like, and say, you know what, that didn't quite work how I planned it to. I mean, I think individually the subs he made weren't bad, but I think all in one go and all sort of just to kind of completely flip around everything just kind of lost us a little bit. It reminded me of what Marco Silva did at Fulham when we beat them earlier in the season. He made a load of changes in one go, and the game was quite tight, and it just ran away from them a little bit, and it ran away from us towards the end as well. But yeah, I mean, you've kind of touched on Brighton being a bogey team. I mean, I think our record against them is really poor. So,
and at the same time, mate, if you do a double whammy, you got the Brighton team who we beat them in the cup, but we just can't seem to beat them in the league, and then you throw in the Manager of the Month award on top.
Yeah, it's kind of one of them, isn't it? You kind of just knew that we were due probably one of those performances, because I know we lost to Man City, but there were a huge amount of positives in that performance. Yeah. But, you know, in typical Wolves fashion, we do throw one in every so often where you kind of go, where did that come from? But, yeah, it's just one of those. I mean, I think Sutty kind of hit the nail on the head. It's, the fact that we're sort of 20-odd points away from safety says it all. And the fact that game yesterday doesn't really matter is all credit to the job that Vitor's done.
Well, absolutely. I mean, because if you'd have said 2 or 3 months ago, we'd be going into the Brighton game home and host.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us were expecting to be going into that Brighton game as we have got to win this game at all costs, which is always difficult against the Brighton team for all of those reasons that you've just stated. And Brighton are a decent side. They've had a bit of a blip themselves, to be fair. But sometimes you play against a team and we've got them, haven't we? We seem to do Villa every time at Molineux. No matter where we are in the league, or what's happening, we always seem to do Villa at Molineux. Sutty, what's your take on that and what everything Jack said?
Well, good evening, everyone. It was a bit flat, wasn't it? I thought first 25 minutes we dominated everything, I think, and I said to the lad next to me, you watch, they'll sucker punch us here. And they did. I mean, the goal they scored was sort of minute margins offside. One of those that you look at and think they should be given, really. And then minutes later, Cunha gets the ball sort of in no man's land on the edge of the area, facing his own goal, and gets nicked it.
Well, I was thinking, why is he down? Why is he so deep? I was like, what's he doing there in the first place?
And I think he just went looking for the ball, to be honest, and it just backfired, didn't it? And from that moment,
tackle, wasn't it?
Yeah, and from that moment on, you could just see we're huffing and puffing with no sort of final ball, really. It was just that final ball was lacking all the time. And they're very disciplined, aren't they? They
defended really well, Brighton.
Yeah, they're They're well set up. They're well drilled. They are our bogey team. And you could just tell when we made the 4 subs that sometimes that works. You can have a monumental shift in a game if it works.
The tempo and the energy levels certainly lifted for about 10 minutes, didn't they?
Yeah, but sometimes if you throw all your cards on at the same time and they take a little bit of time to settle in, it can backfire on you. You've then got no options and you're almost swimming against the tide at times. And they broke away. They've got a nice little second goal and it is literally game over. But let's get reality here. Christmas time. If you'd have told us that we were going to be 19 points clear of 18th, when we were 5 points behind Leicester just before Christmas, I'm pretty sure there's nobody here who's watching this now would have said, oh no, I think we need more than that. We would have snatched your hands off for this. But again, we know there will be change in the summer, and it's just how they reinvest money and to get us to the next level. We've got the right man in charge. What he says he wants, if he gets it, I'm just going to go with the flow this summer, Dave, because if he's happy, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a fair point. And we're going to talk about the summer transfer business and all of that in a little bit. Jack, anything you want to come back on what Sutty's had to say?
No, I completely agree. I think, it is that moment in the game where you feel it slipping away, and it's what you do. And I think, to be fair to Vitor, he's never been shy in kind of making big calls, and obviously taking Cunha off. Although he was having a poor game, it's always
was he on a yellow?
Cunha,
was he on a yellow?
Yeah. So that's probably part of it as well. But yeah, and unfortunately, it just didn't quite work yesterday. But if we'd have got the equaliser from Larson or Bellegarde who came on, we'd all be sitting here going, what a brilliant quadruple substitution that was, changed the game, what a guy this is. But just didn't quite happen. And I think sometimes you kind of can have those kind of games, like we said, and I think you just kind of write it off and go again in a couple of days' time, don't you, against Palace?
Absolutely. Absolutely you do. And you put it down to one of them games. It was flat. We did have a creation. I don't think we played terrible.
No.
In any way, shape or form. We played so much worse, but I thought we overplayed a little bit at times. I thought Rayan was a little bit guilty of overplaying.
Yeah.
And
I think we sometimes we got our tempo wrong at times. I think we were trying to play the ball really quickly when we didn't need to. And then other times we were very, very laboured when actually a quick ball into the midfield or out wide would have probably opened them up a little bit. So again, but I think maybe that's partly to do with the shape that they play. It's kind of difficult to kind of, play consistent against them. They do try and make you slow it down. And other times they press you and force you to play quick. And we kind of got that wrong at times as well.
Absolutely. I mean, Sutty, did you think that Brighton played through our press really well at times yesterday?
I thought we did really well for 25 minutes, Dave. And then it only looked like one side would win it, but it was literally 5 minutes of madness.
Yeah.
Which put us under the cosh, to be honest. And then, like I say, they can afford to sit there. They're a good defensive unit. They are very well drilled. Like I say, we always struggle against them. But I'm not too disheartened by it, Dave. I'm looking at the bigger picture here, and we were in the shit. Let's be honest. We were right in it. We were going down before Christmas. Let's be honest. If Gary O'Neill had stayed, we'd be down, wouldn't we? So we've got to look at the positives of this, and if we can nick a win off Palace or Brentford, then that's a good end to the season. Because if you look at the final 10 games. If you've got 7 wins, 2 losses, and a draw,
that's great.
That's great, isn't it? But it'd be nice to win one of them, if not 2, get some points, some more points on the board, just to take it into next year. Because last season, I think we went on something like 12 games where we didn't pick up a win.
Momentum is so important in football, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
And like, if you're going into the tail end of the season and you're losing all the time, that hangs over if you're going
Well,
into the end of the
we've been here
season.
before, haven't we?
Yeah.
And
So
I think it's important that people say, oh, you can't count the season before, but if you have a really good start to the season and you had a good end to a season, I do think what you say is correct. It like locks onto each other, but that can happen with defeats as well, can't it? As it did last season. And all of a sudden, if you counted last season, I think we went something like
well, you're thinking about when was the last time we won a game of football? And you're thinking about when was the last time we won a game of football? Oh God, it was like 5 months ago. And yet there's a lot of
and
stress.
It's a horrible thought, isn't it? That is when you're only winning 3 games in 5 months or something like that. Oh, it was awful.
Yeah, so absolutely. Let's hear a little bit more from the people that are phoning and sending in videos. We've got Noah from California, then we've got New York Dave.
Hey Dave, Noah here from Monterey, California. So it ends Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Brighton Hove Albion 2 at Molyneux. I mean, just not a clear-cut chance for us today, really, in the match. And Cooney was really the only one I felt who looked threatening, if that makes sense, going forward, really. Thought Munetzi had a poor game. I mean, he runs his socks off, of course, but really doesn't have anything to show for it, unfortunately. Of course, Larson was still out, well, not out, but did make the bench, but didn't start, of course. Still recovering from what was a growing injury, which held him out of last match. But I think in general, Brighton, they had something to play for in the end. They're playing, trying to qualify for European competition. So it makes sense why they would try and go and get it. The second half was very open-ended. And let's be real, if we weren't being clinical enough, we were going to get punished, and that's exactly what happened in the end. So, yeah, I mean, in terms of man of the match, gotta say Andre, again, just unbelievable, controls the game so well. And yeah, good from him. It's on to Palace next, away, and hopefully we can get the 3 points and continue to try and finish this year out strong. Anyways, take care everyone, enjoy the rest of your weekends, and always wolves.
Hey Dave, David New York Wolves here, coming to you from sunny Chester. Who knew that I was going to be over for the 3 days of English summer this year? I'm so fortunate. Couple of thoughts on the match yesterday. Disappointing result. Honestly, I didn't think Brighton were that good. I don't know if they just sat in and tried to stifle us, but they didn't really create that much. I looked at the stats this morning. They scored with both of their shots on target. Sarr was kind of a passenger for the whole game, and yet they come away with all 3 points, which is a bit weird. I think from our point of view, we were laboured. We didn't create it. Well, we created quite a few chances. We seemed, like I said, fairly laboured and flat. Guedes had a couple of early chances. That first one from that nice free kick from Cunha, probably should have done better. And then I think he hesitated briefly with a shot not long after. He kind of did an 8 Nuri, right? Tried to take one too many touches. So I think we, I don't know, we didn't quite have that spark. Maybe again that's because Brighton stifled us. I thought once Pereira brought the 4 subs on, honestly, I didn't think you could make 4 subs at the same time, but I learned something. They really sparked us into life a little bit. I think Bellegarde looked good, Rodrigo was good. So, and having Larson as the focal point really helped. But even that kind of didn't keep up the momentum that they brought when they first came on. So, disappointing result, like I said. I think we've still got to keep battling because we can still move up 1 or 2 places. I don't think we'll catch Palace now, but we've got to play them, so who knows. And even though we're promoted, we want to finish as high as we can for the extra prize money. I think it's quite a few million just by going up a couple of spots. So I think it's really important that Vitor keeps them battling, and we get a couple of decent results in our last 2 matches. So it was disappointing, but on we go. See you next week. Up the Wolves.
Yeah, that was interesting. Noah really seemed fed up today. I was like, "Come on, Noah." He wasn't. He felt really flat. Dave's over in sunny. I think always makes us smile. Jack, your Leamore Windows man of the match, Fox at Shipley performance, and your Parkside moment of the day. What would that be?
Man of the match. I don't disagree with Andre. I thought he had a fairly solid game. I did in the end went with Totti because I thought again he was kind of did his role really, really well. He brought the ball out from the back a few times, which was really exciting, and did some really good defending blocks and tackles and things. Performance rating 6.5. Like I said, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't back to the O'Neill days, if you like. It was just, I think Sutty nailed it with the word flat. It was just a little bit, perhaps the end of this run that we've been on. Subconsciously, the players have kind of gone, right, we kind of got what we needed to do now, and there's a little bit of an easing off. People are starting to think of, the summer and going away and things like that. So maybe there was a little bit of that involved, and you do get it time to time. Moment of the day, I was talking to a guy before the game, and he got his son with him for his first game, and it just reminded me of when I went to my first game and things, and that's kind of what it's about, isn't it? You get them in while they're young, and you hook them, and then they're fans for life, and it was just nice to kind of see that's still going on. So that was made me smile.
I love that. Sutty.
Andre played well again. He is a Rolls Royce of a player, this kid. He's I know I said earlier on the season we didn't need him, but I'm glad we've got him. So yeah, that he's a gem. But I want to give my man of the match to the man mountain at the back, who is Agbadu, because there was a couple of times yesterday where he sort of turned centre forwards inside out and made them look like fools on the ball. And this bloke, 18 million or something, was he?
Bargain,
16
mate.
million. Oh,
What a find.
I actually think that he, along with system changes, is the main reason where we are at the moment. He shored us up at the back, and he basically takes the P out of centre forwards. And probably one of the closest things you'll see to a Van Dijk, and that's a bigger claim from me. We'll call him our poor man's Van Dijk because he is that good, I think.
Yeah.
So he's got my man of the match. I'll give it a 6, Dave, because it did just seem a little bit flat. So a 6, but that's I'm not knocking them. You're going to throw these performances in from time to time, and it happens in all kinds of sport. People can turn up, think they're going to do really well, and it just doesn't happen on the day, and you end up forcing play when it doesn't come naturally. So a 6, and then moment of the day. Well, again, before the game, I've gone and had a few drinks with my friends from Worcester, Ledbury and Wales Wolves, and they always make me laugh, Dave. And sometimes it's the game that spoils the day, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's everything that it's not just about the game, is it? It's about the whole day. We've got a caller on the line. It is Oz from Chicago who wants to come in and make his point. Let's hear what Oz has to say. Hello, Oz. Welcome back.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good,
Evening,
mate.
Oz.
Good to see
Hello.
you. What point
Well,
would you like to make?
I mean, I think it was a good game in the first half. And then that stupid penalty just took the air out of the team, basically. And I don't think they could recover after that. And it was, I mean, I'm looking at the SofaScore statistics here. It's just looking at the expected goals, the XG statistic that everybody talks about. I mean, if you take the penalty out, I mean, our expected goals is the same as Brighton's. And we had 2 big chances. They had 2 big chances. One is the penalty kick. And then again, like Manchester City did last week, they managed to kill the game in the second half. And we didn't have the bench power to change the course of the game. And I think that our main problem against Brighton was Larsson's absence. I mean, if you take Larsson out, the only player who can press on the offensive side is Munetsi. Geddes doesn't do any pressing. Cunha doesn't do any of them. And then with only Munetsi pressing, the goalie, that's pretty much it. So Brighton didn't have any difficulties advancing the ball. When Munetsi and Larsson played together, they were pressing in tandem and really distracting the entire possession of the opponent. Now we didn't have that, and off the ball, with the ball, Geddes really was not good at all. And Cunha also had an off day, I think. I mean, he still played a decent game. To me, I would have preferred to see him playing 90 minutes because it's Cunha, right? He can have the ball, he can do something when we were not expecting it. Because, you know, the Sarabia really didn't do much after.
Sarabia seems to be better as an impact player, to be honest.
Yeah, but the entire team was not really playing anything, so Sarabia himself couldn't do anything either. Rodrigo tried to create some chances, but like I said, the Brighton really managed to kill the game beautifully. I mean, it was a boring game in the end. That means they got what they wanted, and then they scored a second goal from a fast break. One thing that I noticed is, I don't know if it's us Turks, we generally prefer to blame the ref first when we lose a game. But this game, I really did not like this fellow. I mean, this referee, Brighton kept committing these, what we call the Yugoslavian fouls. You know,
niggly fouls, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so when we are about to go for a fast break or counterattack, whatever, a cheap foul, break the attack. And, you know, generally when you do it, okay, it's not a hard foul, so it doesn't deserve a yellow card. But if you do it 1, 2, 3, 4, then come on, in the fifth one, show the yellow card to someone. And I'm looking at Eight Nori, they butchered the kid the entire game.
When they pulled him back that one time, he didn't get a yellow card for that.
I mean, he got hit and hit and hit. I mean, the guy couldn't play. And he was really, I mean, Vitor's game relies on right and left wingers dribbling the ball and then going inside or passing the ball. But when they started dribbling the ball, they got clipped immediately. So, and the ref didn't do anything about it. I mean, I'm telling you guys, if Brighton plays like this in Europa League, they would finish every game with at least 3, 4 yellow cards. They wouldn't let them play like that. They wouldn't let them kill the game like that, but with cheap fouls. And I think the first foul it was an incidental one, though I don't blame the opponent player, but what they did to Joe Gomez, I think it was the second minute, right? I kind of think it freaked him out. I think it affected his game a little. I'm not sure if you agree with me or not. But it was a really hard fall, and I thought his knee bended kind of funky. I thought he was going to go out, and, you know, I was really worried. Luckily, he's fine. But look, defensively, we're very good. Midfield, we're very good. All we need is a couple of good offensive wingers and a backup number 9, really. I think the future is bright, and it looks like they're going to do it.
Well, let's hope. Sooty and Jack, any come back on that to us or any observations or questions for him whilst we got him on?
Yeah, I was going to just say that, actually, what I was just said about João Gomez. If that foul had been in the 15th minute, he'd have got at least a yellow card. But he bottled it because it was so early. And Michael Oliver had an indifferent game, let's put it that way, as a referee. There was lots of niggly little fouls, and they play the game. Brighton. They're very good at it. They're a bit like Bournemouth. There's a lot of dark arts that go on with these two sides. They don't like it when it's given against them, but they're the masters at it. And just niggly ones. And if you watch, they all take it in turns to have a little niggle. One player doesn't do it all the time. They'll take it in turns. A bit like when we played Spurs a few years ago, and they all took it in turns to chop Adama Traore to bits. Even Harry Kane had a go, and no one really got booked because they all took it in turns to bring him down. And they're a little bit like that. But let's not fool ourselves. We weren't bad yesterday. We just got outdone by a side that were tactically well set up, well drilled. They took their chances, and basically they shut up shop, and we just couldn't break them down. And that's it. Happens. It happens, and if it happens all the time, we get cheesed off. But let's not forget the fact.
Look what happened to Nottingham Forest today, right? I mean, Leicester took a tie.
Yeah, let's not forget the fact, as I said, in the last 10 games, we've won 7, drawn 1, lost 2. And that is very, very good. The man has turned us round like none of us would have expected, let's be honest. And we've all got to look to the end of this season. Hopefully we can pick up some more points and the beginning of next season and start positively, because I think this bloke can take us places.
Absolutely. Jack, anything to add to that?
No, I think the whole issue we have with Michael Oliver, and we have this a lot of the time, is he's exceedingly arrogant, and he's probably sitting there thinking, I should be refereeing Liverpool Arsenal today, not Brighton Wolves. Yeah. And so he's half-arsed, he doesn't care, he's not committed to the game, he doesn't keep up with play, he makes erratic decisions. You get it with him, and you get it with Anthony Taylor as well. When you get Anthony Taylor doing Wolves versus Ipswich, for example, because he thinks he should be doing the Manchester derby, he can't be bothered when it's Wolves v Ipswich. And that's fundamentally an issue with the PGMOL, is that they've created these figures that believe they're better than they are. And I think you get that with Michael Oliver all the time.
Absolutely. Oz, just before we finish, have you got your man of the match performance rating, etc.?
Oh, I'm gonna go with Andre. I mean, I think I'll always go with Andre. It's just the guy is. You remember those commercials, the Energizer Bunny? You know,
yeah,
the battery commercial. He's unbelievable. I mean, yeah, and I think I'm gonna ask you guys, if you don't mind, who would you fault in that penalty? Is it? I think Agbodu is equally faulty to give the ball to Cunha at that position. I mean, we all like Agbodu a lot, right? Okay, that's fine.
Was it Agbodu that gave it to Mossar?
I think it was Agbodu to give the pass to Cunha, and then Cunha was already under pressure, and the guy was behind him. He didn't see him. So I think Agbodu should have been more aware. I don't know if you're I don't want to pick on any player, but it's kind of, we always blame, everybody seems to blame Cunha on that penalty thing. Yeah, he did something bad, but
I think Cunha was calling for it though.
Was he calling for the ball?
I think I watched it, and he seemed to be like, I mean, he was deep.
Yeah,
I don't know why he was that deep personally. He's our number 10. He should have been further up the pitch for me, but he likes to run with the ball. But I think he was calling for it, and then he got caught, and then he tried to rectify it. And of course, we see strikers lunging.
That was such a stupid mistake. I mean, I think I'm trying to find someone to blame.
I also think maybe our focus went a little bit after the initial goal and the stoppage for the VAR. And I think, like what Sutty said, we had like 5 minutes where we kind of lost our concentration and focus, and we got punished the second time. And the Brighton fans would probably think, well, justice was done. So we'll see. What's your performance rating?
I'll give us 6.
A 6. Fantastic. Oz, thanks ever so much for coming on again, mate. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Always guys. Great contribution. Cheers, pal.
Cheers.
Yeah, and we are going to be getting on to talking about the summer and incoming and transfer rumours in a bit. Next up, we've got Chris from Norway.
From Isol in Norway, speaking after the game, which was, in the end, a very frustrating afternoon, wasn't it? Let's be honest, I wouldn't say we played particularly badly today. Things just didn't go for us that have gone for us in previous weeks. I would say that, in all honesty, playing Guedes today, I could see the idea behind it, but it really didn't work. It really didn't. Kuna was man-marked out the game for the first half, and we literally had, I think we had a bad 10 minutes in the first half where it was a disallowed Brighton goal. We were very, very lucky. And then almost immediately we gave away a goal. Now, we haven't done that for a long, long time. And it was disappointing at times. Before that happened, we could have had a couple of goals, couldn't we? We were always in the game. They were always in the game, as I say. And to be honest, we were, once or twice the bounce of the ball didn't go our way. Brighton made a couple of last-ditch tackles, and I think Vito made quite a few positive substitutions. He could see it wasn't working particularly, and he changed it, and we could easily have got a 1-1 out of that. But I think, to be honest, we would have to say, but this occasion I'm going to do something I do not very often. I'm going to credit our opponents a lot today, because Brighton came and they really did know how to play us. Now, time and again in recent games, for the last couple of months actually, Andre and Joe Gomez have pounded opposition midfield into submission, and it's always worked for us. Today, Brighton looked like they had an extra man in there, and as well as our two did play as usual, didn't do anything wrong, they had an extra body in there, and it did seem to make a difference. So we're never able to make the tackle they usually make and come away with the ball. There's always someone else there. Brighton, you have to say, I'm going to credit the opposition this time. They came and did a job on us. Respect to them for it. But we've had a lot of good days recently. This was by no means a bad day, but nobody likes to lose, do they? And especially me. But we'll wear this one, because we have, after the last few weeks, we've got absolutely nothing to complain about.
Well said, well said. From Chris in Eidsvold in Norway. Look, we're going to now move on to a little bit of transfer talk now. Obviously, we've been linked with, we're going to be linked with various players. The Kuna saga's going on. The interesting one for me is Ryan Ait-Nouri, Vitor Pereira, the story coming out that he really wants him to stay, and he sees him as a mainstay of his team. Because I think a lot of us were kind of expecting that Ryan might be one that would be shipped out. So I don't know who wants to come in on that first, whether it's Sutty or Jack on that, and on what your thoughts are with that, and if you actually Vitor wants him and we can get him to stay. How are you feeling? Who wants to come in on that, Sutty or Jack?
Go on, Jack.
No, I agree. I think he's an important player in how Vitor wants to play, because if you're playing 3 centre halves and 2 holding midfielders, your wing backs have to be able to defend, but also provide a lot of attacking thrust and goals and assists. Semedo doesn't give you a lot of goals and assists, so Ait-Nouri has to do quite a bit of work down that left-hand side, and he'd be a very difficult player to replace in that sense. I think there's been a lot of talk about Hugo Bueno coming back, but he's a different type of wing back, so I'm not sure that we kind of get the same impact if that was the swap that happened. But I think going back to what Sutty said earlier, I think if the manager wants to keep him, then we've got to move heaven and earth to try and do that, because for the first time in what feels like 3, 4, 5 seasons even, we've got a manager that's a real unifying figure. And if he's coming out in the press and saying, I want to keep this player at this football club, then you've got to make sure you do that, because if you don't, straight away the fans are going to be thinking, oh, here we go again. They're not sticking by the manager. They've sold him a dream, So it becomes quite a key issue, really, is because he said the same about Semedo, hasn't he? He wants to keep Semedo. So that becomes a key thing in the first sort of few weeks of the window is are the club going to give the manager what he wants. And I think the first things that he's kind of said is that he wants Semedo and Aït-Nouri. Obviously, the players coming in will be later on, but for now, those two players he wants to keep, and it'll be a key sort of indicator of how committed they are to him, whether we can do that or not.
Yeah, it will be. Obviously, Semedo, I'm hoping he will stay because he's captain of the club now. We're moving forward. He probably had enough previously and was like, I need out of here. But now he's captain. Been really, really good. And he probably get a move in a couple of years' time for a big money move to Saudi or the States or whatever. So I'm hoping that he'll say, well, actually, I want to be part of this, and he'll stay. And Ryan Aït-Nouri, he's valued at around about 45, 50 million. Liverpool have been linked. So Wolves might offer him the money, but he still might decide to, well, I want to go and play for the likes of Liverpool if they come in for him. Sutty, what's your take?
Well, I've just looked at our friend Chris's comment about him keep getting caught out of position. Look, for him to defend as almost as a fullback, we'd have to play a 5-3-2. We don't play a 5-3-2. We do when we're defending to a certain degree, but he likes these two to bomb on. So it's more of a 3-4-3, and he likes these two to bomb on. At which point you've got Totti on one side and the Doc on the other, covering them if they get caught out of position.
Yeah.
That is how he likes to play. It's not about Aït-Nouri not being able to defend. I think he's been given the free rein of, you get forward. You are a major tool in our attacking armory, and you make sure you get forward. If you're not getting forward, if you watch, if he doesn't go forward constantly, we do not create. It's as simple as that. That's how I see it anyway. But as he's gone public and said he wants him to stay, I've got a list of players now that I think will go.
Go on then.
Obviously, we've got Cunha. We 99% sure Cunha's going to go.
Yeah, just to where.
And these are the ones that I would now offload, and that would be Hwang, Guedes, and Santiago Bueno, because we've got Mosquera
as well. Santiago.
There's nothing wrong with Santiago Bueno, but we got Mosquera coming back, who gives us really a pacey back three if needed. We still have Doc
as well, because he can play.
Yeah, we still have Doc as well. So
Doc's very versatile, can play anywhere along right back, left back, wing back, right centre back.
I think if Aït-Nouri stays, I think if Aït-Nouri stays, we got him as well. Sorry, and if Aït-Nouri stays, I then think that we'll keep Hugo Bueno out on loan, because if we sign Aït-Nouri up for a longer deal, I think it'll be not this summer. Next summer he gets sold if he has another good season, and it'll be even bigger money then, because he'll still be only 24 in a World Cup year, and I think that could well be the planning they go for. And then Hugo Bueno would come back in to the fold when Aït-Nouri goes, because he'll have played in Europe another season. He'll be up and running then, and he'll be just the player we need to replace him without finding money. Yeah. So I think Aït-Nouri, not this summer, next summer will be a big summer transfer.
Interesting. Just on Chris as well, I know he's not the biggest fan of Ryan Aït-Nouri, but the facts are that Ryan Aït-Nouri has the best figures in terms of goals created than any defender in the entire Premier League. He's scored 4 and he's got 7 assists. And for a defender, although he's an out defender, but he plays in a defensive position.
Yeah, he does play in a defensive position, but let's not forget this is a 3-4-3 in attack. He actually becomes a winger, and if you're asking him to bomb up the top, put crosses in, and they're good enough to clear whatever, then you're 3 at the back, you're 2, your left centre back and your right centre back, and then got to do the business. And you'll watch that Andre should drop in as well to cover him as well. if you hold him back and you put him in shackles, you might as well ditch him because he's not a defender.
No.
So, and if you're going to play 4 at the back, you might as well ditch him because he'd be no good. But this is a system the man wants to play.
And if Vitor wants him, he sees him day in, day out in training. And if
his figures don't lie. His defensive figures might say a different story, but that isn't what he's in here for. Chris was a fullback by trade when he played, and he was taught to defend. And those days are gone. It's not about that. Look at all the other teams that play with wing backs. They don't get back and defend. They're out and out wingers, most of them. So if you withdraw one part of his game, then you might as well get rid now. If you don't give him that free rein to go up and down that left wing, forget it. That is his game.
Fair play. I think he did overplay a little bit yesterday, and he does have a tendency sometimes to overplay. So I think I agree with Chris on that. I think yesterday he was guilty of that, but other times he will create a lot of chances. Jack, any thoughts on him coming? I mean, there's rumoured to be a couple lined up. One being, I can't think of the Brazilian's name, and we will be linked with a lot of people, but it's all hearsay at the moment. One person that we do feel that he's going to be in the squad for next year, and I think we should give him an honourable mention, is Matheus Mane, 17 years of age, had a bit of a cameo. He looked really good when he came on, Jack.
No, he did. He didn't look overawed, did he? And I think that's all you can kind of ask for a young player when they make their debut, is that they don't look like the proverbial rabbit in the headlights. But he looked like he'd played before. He looked like he felt comfortable at that level. You know, I know for a fact that he now trains full time with the first team. So he's obviously had that integration period where, you know, instead of the hybrid schedule where he trains with the first team, then the 21s, he now trains all the time with the first team. Vitor's obviously a huge fan. He's kind of made that very clear in some of his comments and things. So, you know, I think the whole point, I mean, we talk a lot about the academy and the financial side of it, but if you can get a player like Matheus Mane that can come from Rochdale for 25 grand and can fill a squad place for you, that's going to save you quite a bit of money in the long term, you know. But I think what's important here is, and you know, not to kind of pour any water on the bonfire, but he's 17 years old. Let him kind of get used to it at his own pace and let the manager make the right decisions for his development. You know, let's not kind of big him up and talk about how he's going to, you know, win the Ballon d'Or and play for England and all that. Just let him just settle in and find his own feet and find his own sort of space within that group. But I think the general feeling within the club is that he's a very exciting talent.
Very exciting. And, you know, Vitor's come out and said that he will be involved with the first team squad next year. I think that's a big statement. And if you listen to how Vitor's talked and if you followed his career, Vitor Pereira has a passion for trying to bring through young diamonds into his clubs. And he's clearly identified, hasn't he, Jack, Matheus Mane?
No, he has, yeah, and I think there's perhaps one or two others that maybe might get a look in next year. I mean, Enzo Gonzalez has been injured all season, hasn't he? So Vitor would probably like to have a look at him in the summer and see if he's got something to offer. We've seen little bits of Pedro Lima, and I think I liked what I saw, but again, I think he's probably a couple of years away from really sort of breaking out and being that sort of future right wing back, but there's certainly potential there. So, and I think ultimately, yeah, we've got to kind of, you know, temper the expectations a little bit, but also appreciate that we've potentially got someone that can make a contribution. And again, I think just touching on what Sutty was saying there, I think that there'll be a few players moving on this summer, you know, and I think it's a good opportunity to kind of trim the squad a little bit. And then if you've got spaces that are open and a young player comes through in pre-season or in training and kind of goes, actually, don't go and spend 25 million on someone. Put me on the bench, put me in the squad. Then that helps you perhaps invest somewhere else in the team.
Absolutely. Neil White's asking, will Semedo leave? I think we've kind of just covered that off, really. I mean, we wait and see. Vitor Pereira wants him to keep. I think Semedo was almost certain to leave, but he's been given the captain's armband. He's embraced that. he can see under Vitor Pereira is incredibly valuable. Vitor Pereira talks him up about his leadership on and off the pitch. He might be now changing his mind, like I said, and looking at, well, this is something I want to be part of. So I think his mind might have been changed. I think if Gary O'Neill was still here or was still in, he'd want out. But I actually think that if shove comes to push, if they pay him the money, and that's the key, it'll save us a lot of money on a transfer fee. So I'm hoping he does say. So obviously we'll be talking about all this transfer rumours, links for the next 2.5 months, because that's the way it'll be. When there's no football, the papers have got nothing to write about. So they'll be writing about links to probably every Wolves player in the squad, including bloody Andre, Gomez, Agbadou. They'll all be linked somewhere by someone to create a story, and people have to probably not take it too seriously. But there's going to be lots of rumours, and we'll try and cover it on here. Just before we go on to the next bit, which is Room 101, I did want to bring your attention that I took part in a charity football tournament today, which was organised by Robbie Meakin. There's our squad. We had a little T-shirt because he's been diagnosed with cancer. I mentioned it a couple of shows ago. He was there today, which was great, and he kicked off. He got on the pitch to kick us off, and then went off. We did win the game, 4-3. I nearly scored. There's me in the dressing room with Wolves women manager Macca, who had a good game. On the opposition side, we had Gary Poundland, which was quite cool, and there's me and Reaper with our winners' medals holding the trophy at the end. And there was some great people there. I think there's around about 300 in attendance, so it's quite good. It was bloody hot, really hard work, but it raised a lot of money for 2 great causes. So thanks for everyone that supported that. It was a really good fun day. And the main winners are the 2 causes. And we do, of course, wish Robbie all the best in his recovery. And I think he's got to start the chemo soon. So I've been through that with my leukemia. And when you've been given a diagnosis like you've got some form of cancer, it really, everything else, it really puts perspectives on life to make sure that you've not got your health, what have you got? So anyway, well done to Robbie for organising and still making the day. So absolutely brilliant day. Right, Room 101 today. If Room 101, it is, you can put, Jack or Sooty, any food type or meal into Room 101, anything you like. But you've got to make a good argument and then we'll decide. What are you going with, Jack?
Beetroot. Can't stand
beetroot?
it.
That's
Can't stand it.
Tell me about that. Go on,
Awful.
tell me a bit more.
I think anything that you have to pickle within an inch of its life to have any flavour has got no place on any plate in the world. So get rid of it. It serves no purpose at all. Get rid of it.
Mate,
I love beetroot.
I did. Oh, there you go.
He loves beetroot. I'm kind of with Jack. Beetroot definitely is in Room 101, but we'll leave a portion stashed away for Sooty in his cupboard. Okay, Sooty, what are you going with?
One word, Dave. Dumplings.
Dumplings?
Fucking hell, they're terrible. Who eats suet in a bowl like that? It is revolting. It's not normal behaviour, that. They are crap.
You ain't a fan of dumplings?
Not for me, Dave, no.
No. Do you know what? I have had the odd dumpling. And I don't... I think they're kind of comedy, so we've got to keep them in the world just...
You can have mine, Dave. They're shit.
Yeah, just because we need something to wind you up over the next few weeks and stuff like that. I'll just mention the word dumplings.
I'd rather starve.
There's a few in the Chris Humphries. We all know that he doesn't like peas. Andrew, liver and onions.
Oh, no, I like that.
I like that. Yeah.
JS96. It says an Indian in Sooty.
Gurkha, yes.
In Cutnell Green. Rebecca's agreeing with peas need to be gone. Someone's gone with anchovies. That's a fair shout. David, jellied eels. I think that's a fair shout as well.
Yeah,
jellied eels.
Yeah.
Kasabian's gone with stripe.
Tripe.
Yeah, tripe, yeah. Deep fried Mars bar.
Never tried it.
No, don't know about
Pig's
that.
liver and pig's kidneys. Oh
Oh,
yeah,
no.
David.
I'd eat that.
You did. I see. Oh, no, not for me. Chris Humphries is not a fan of you dishing the dumplings, mate.
Yeah, they're shit.
Yeah, fan with that.
You can have mine.
Oh. Neil Lewis has bought some organic beetroot juice from Sainsbury's. Other supermarkets, of course, you can get those from. He said it's delicious. £3 a bottle. Jazz chutney. Merv hasn't found a food he doesn't like yet. So, yeah. Oh, well, there's loads here. True Wolves goes to tomato juice. Can't get rid of that. My dad loves his tomato juice. So, and JS says he's going to the Gurkha on Thursday, Sooty. You know it well, mate.
Top notch in there, Dave. You need to get yourself there.
Is it nice?
Yeah, nice.
Oh, and where's that? Whereabouts in the world?
Droitwich.
Droitwich. So it's a top place. So yeah, that was really good. A bit of fun. So we're going to go. We're going to hear now from the Lord Jason. And this is a serious thing that he wants to put out, even though he's dressed in a flowery shirt in Benidorm. It's a serious message, and this is Jason with what he's got to say. Whilst we're doing that, when we come back, we'll look ahead to Palace and Brentford, and then we've got your questions. So here's Jason.
So, Always Wolves, this is an appeal to you guys. You've probably heard the news. Phil Parkes, nicknamed Lofty. Listen, legend of Wolverhampton Wanderers, over 300 plus games for the Wolves in goal, the most consecutive appearances for a goalkeeper in Wolverhampton Wanderers history, and you know what, above all that, above what he's done for the Wolves, a genuinely nice bloke. You can meet him in the street, you can meet him at a dinner, and he will talk to you about Wolves and football all day long. Absolute legend, lovely, genuinely nice man, and that's more important than what he's done for our football club, by the way. And sadly, on April the 4th, he had a fall at home, and it's made him quite poorly. I went to see him in hospital last week, and he's making slow progress, but it's a long, long road ahead. So we decided with the Wolves FPA to set up a crowdfunding page so we can give him help, the support he needs, the support at home, the necessary adaptations he needs to his house when he comes out of hospital, and the response has been phenomenal. In, I think, just over 48 hours, nearly £5,000. And that's down to you guys, the genuine supporters of Wolverhampton Wanderers who love our club and love Lofty. And it's just been phenomenal. So I want to thank you personally. But I went to see Lofty in hospital. And do you know what? He was in great spirits. And one of the jokes he made was about Bill McGarry. And he was lying in his hospital bed and he went, do you know what? If Bill McGarry was the manager, he'd pick me Saturday. And that's the man he is. You know what? Always in his hour of need, he's still having a joke, having a laugh. And you know what? I read to him a lot of the messages that you guys had put on social media, and he was absolutely overwhelmed. So if we can give, please give. I'm sure Dave will put the link. And yeah, help if you can. He's a very humble man. He doesn't want this help. He hasn't asked for this help. But I think we're duty bound to do it for him. In other news, I'm in Benidorm for Bully's 60th, and if you heard of Bully, Steve Bull, 306 goals for the club, and it's shit shirt night. Anyway, on a serious note, guys, anything you can do for Phil Parkes, Lofty, please do, because it'll make the world a difference to him. £1, £2, £5, £10 makes a difference. Thank you for listening, guys. Always Wolves.
As I say, Jason's always very, very jovial, but a very serious message. Lofty, a fantastic keeper for Wolves. He's a great personality. As Jason says, he always loves some jokes. He had a fall, done his back. He's been in hospital for quite a while now. So there is a Just Giving, which is Just Giving / crowdfunding / Phil-Lofty-Parks. And you'll be able to donate whatever you can to help him when he comes out of hospital. And, I asked Jason to send me that because I know that some of you would want to be able to support that. So thanks for Jason for sending out that. And again, we do wish Lofty all the best. He's a legend of the club, really, really top lad. And as I say, he's always got time for everyone. So let's hope that he has a good recovery. And I think his mobility is going to be not what it is when before the fall. So the money is going to be going to helping him when he comes out of hospital. Okay. And so there we go. Look, donated time for everyone. Well done, Rick. So if you can, just spare what you can. On to looking ahead to Palace and Brentford, Jack. Obviously the Palace game has got moved to a bloody Tuesday night, and Palace is a nightmare to get to at the best of times because they've qualified for the FA Cup final, and then we've got Brentford. What are you thinking for those two?
Well, I think, like you said, Palace is not an easy trip at the best of times, is it? Both logistically and then also from a football point of view. I think a lot of it will hinge on what happens in the cup final. I think if they win it, they'll be on such a monumental high that I think we could kind of run into a bit of an express train. Whereas if they do get beaten on Saturday afternoon, then you might just catch them up with a bit of a hangover. So I think we've got to kind of do what we can from our point of view, prepare right, pick a strong team, be the best version of ourselves, and then see what we can go and do. I think probably more likely we'll pick up some points against Brentford. I think that will probably be quite a similar game to yesterday, to be fair, where I think they're very well organised. They're good at what they do, Brentford. They've got a very clear identity and a way of playing, and it's up to you to kind of impose your game on them and make your version of football stronger than theirs, and that's kind of the way that they do things. I think whatever happens, I think we've kind of exceeded where we thought we'd be at Christmas time. But it'd be nice if we could finish, like we said, with a couple of positive results, because for the first time in a long time, we've got a potential to kind of go into a summer on a positive note, and it'd be nice to do that.
Absolutely. Well said, mate. Absolutely well said. Sutter, your thoughts?
Well, like you said, Palace away on a Tuesday night. Ooh. It's a long old trip, isn't it? And it's a late one back. So,
very late, yeah.
It's almost half a day off work one day and the morning off the next day type thing. As Jack said, if they win the cup, they'll be riding on the crest of a wave, and they'll be coming at us all gung-ho. I don't actually think they'll win the cup, and I think their season could well peter out a bit. That said, another team we don't always do great against. So
no,
I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw down in Croydon. Nice part of the world. Not. And then our last game of the season, I actually think we'll beat Brentford. I think we'll turn the table on what was quite possibly the most shambolic game. Tactically.
Remember you coming over to me at half time at Brentford? And I was going, I'm done. That was the day, wasn't it?
That was the day, because before kickoff, you said, "This is it today." I was saying we're going to see the real Wolves today, and we did,
and we did, and we definitely did. And like, if there ever was a manager that should have been sacked at half time, if I was the chairman, I think I would have been very tempted to go, "Look, you're sacked. I'll put the kit man in charge because he could do a better job."
Me and you could have done a better job. It was terrible, but we're a different beast now. And I don't think they'll find it quite as easy to cut through us like they did that day, because we were non-existent that day.
Yeah. Oh, it was awful, especially any cross to the back post. It was like.
Well, they'd scored. If you remember, they'd scored in the first minute of the previous 4 games, and we all said, I mean, wouldn't you have told your team, make sure it's tight for the first few minutes? And after 1 minute 7 seconds, they scored, and that set the tempo for a crazy game, which was, well, it was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. But I don't think we're that team anymore, and I think we'll beat them 2-1.
I love it. I love it. Guys, now's time for Q&A. You can ask anything of Sooty, Jack, myself, or all of us. Anything from football to life, whatever you want to go with. Bang your comments in. Just wanted to tell you guys, if anyone who downloaded the Match Bingo app that we're working with at the moment, it's really good. It's the most simplest app that I can remember, because it's literally you buy a bingo card and it's got like things like corners, 6 minutes added time, free kicks, yellow cards, in what minutes and stuff, goals. It's got all sorts, and you basically tick them off, and you can get a house or you get a line, and it's really easy to follow during the game. Obviously, I didn't follow it during the game because we bought some tickets. And I got a line, so we won some money, and it's just really easy to follow. Bingo and football. The link to that is in the description below. If you haven't downloaded it, have a go, because it is quite funny, and there's a couple of games from Wolves left you can try it out on. So let's go to questions. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed, why not hit the subscribe button? Help us out with that, guys. We're very, very close to 36,500. We're actually 13 short on YouTube of getting to 36,500. So if you haven't hit the subscribe button, do that, and hit a like on the video. It helps us out. So I don't ask many favors, do I? So you know. So let's have a look at the question. Carl's got one to start with. What football team would you like to see Wolves play in pre-season? In a pre-season game you've never seen before? We'll go with Sooty. It's a good question, that is. Sooty first.
What, any football team?
Yeah.
Ooh, that is a good question. Ajax.
Ajax, a good one. Yeah, that would be a good one.
Away. That would be, it's a cracking little stadium, that. Jack?
Probably like Rangers, maybe, something like that. That'd be quite good.
Oh, now Sooty would absolutely look at his little face.
That's dreamland, Jack, but
what would you do then? Would you just be like neutral, or would you'd still want Wolves to win that, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But it
you
would
do
be
like the Rangers, don't you?
If it was up at Ibrox, that would be just dreamland.
You wouldn't miss that game for love nor money, would you?
No. We'd all stay for the weekend, and you could meet my family. So
that's an absolutely fantastic one. Talking about pre-season matches, I think Wolves they haven't announced it yet, but I think they've got some local games lined up. Obviously, they're not going to be going to the States or anything like that. So it's looking like Germany, Portugal, or Spain for a game, which I'm sure a few of the fans will want to go over. But they're working on finalising the details for that at the moment. Just going to scroll down to see if anyone's put any comments in terms of who want. Chris Huntress, of course. He'd love us to play Fortuna Dusseldorf. Oh, by the way, he was watching him on his little phone. They've still got a chance of making the playoff to the Bundesliga. And Hamburg got promoted to the Bundesliga. They've been out the Bundesliga for 7 years. Next question from Bobby Smith. Who would you pick to defend your life? Floyd Street, this is to Sooty, Ludwig Polle, or Emmanuel Agbadou? That's a great question, Bobby.
I'd love all three of them, to be honest. From my early days, I think Big Floyd was a man mountain, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Even if it was in the lower leagues. But I think present day, you wouldn't want to meet Agbadoo down a dark alley, would you, on your own? He's a bit of a lump, isn't he? Where I am in SL2, I'm about 9 rows up, just on the 6-yard line, on level with the 6-yard line. He got a drink of water yesterday while they were doing the VAR check. And I looked, I'm sure he was the same height as me, and I was about 7 rows back. He's huge.
He's a big unit.
Yeah, and like I say, he's just what we want. But Big Floyd for old time's sake.
Yeah, that's a good shout as well. That's a great question, Bobby. Thank you for that. JS96 panel. We'll start with you, Jack. Do you take interest in other sports outside of football, especially when the football season is finished, Jack?
Yeah, as I said before, I love my cricket, so that's kind of kicked off up and running this year, the counties, and then obviously you get the test matches and the ODIs are coming up later on in the summer as well. In terms of the other sports, I always say to people I'm a bit of a glory hunter, so I watch the rugby, but I'll only ever kind of watch the Six Nations or the World Cup. I don't kind of watch the sort of the everyday sort of club rugby or anything like that. And again, with things like tennis and golf, I'll watch the kind of the big events, but not so much the kind of the day-to-day stuff. But yeah, if you had to pin me down, I'd say cricket's my next big love.
What's your cricket team that you support? Is it Warwickshire?
Warwickshire, yeah.
Warwickshire Bears. Sutsy's pulling the face there.
Worcestershire.
Of course it is. It's got to be, innit? Yeah. Sutsy, any sport you follow outside of the football?
Combat sports, boxing mainly, although I don't think it's anywhere near as good as what it was in the 80s, 90s. There don't seem to be the characters around in the sport to me today, but I still watch it all. Cricket, I love my cricket. I like to get down New Road. The ground I think is the nicest ground in the world, but Jack will definitely disagree with me there.
No, New Road are nice. when it's not under 6 foot of water,
yeah, it is, yeah. And I love watching a triathlon for obvious reasons as well, Dave.
Yeah, because you did the triathlon, didn't you?
Yeah, so they're my go-to sports to watch other than football.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I like the tennis. I managed to get to Wimbledon. I think it was last year or the year before. I can't remember now. We've got ladies finals and men doubles final at centre court. Second time I've been on centre court. So I do like my tennis. If I get a chance to, if anyone's a decent tennis player, let me know. I need people to play because I am not bad. I won the Wolverhampton Parks League after COVID, after not picking a racket up for years. And I played a 21-year-old in the final and beat him 2-1. And he came with a bag full of rackets and his coach. And there's me with my one racket. But that was he was really good about it as well because he played him in the final and he was really good about it. His coach wasn't, but he was really good about it. So I like my tennis. I like to play a bit of snooker. Try and play a bit of a snooker against my mate Simon from Walsall Fan TV and my mate Jason, who's a big Albion fan, on a Friday night. I'm not saying I'm any good at snooker, but I do quite like it. It's like a chess battle, so I don't like snooker. And I don't mind the cricket either, especially the one-dayers, the tests and stuff like that. But I haven't been. And when the Rugby Union, Five Nations and the World Cup, I do like watching a bit of that as well. But I've never got fully into it. It's always the internationals for me. Question here, another good one. Sutty first, what's your hobbies outside of supporting Wolves?
Shooting.
You shoot? I never knew that. You go down a driving range?
No, not really, Dave. It might, vermin, let's put it that way, Dave.
Shooting range. Oh, shooting vermin.
Rats.
You got like an air gun or something like that?
Yeah, all like high-powered stuff, Dave, where you need a firearm certificate for.
Oh, right, yeah. You have to put them in a lock-up thing, don't you?
Oh, yeah, big one that's bolted to the wall and everything. So, yeah, that's my sort of peace and quiet time, Dave, away from all the bedlam of life.
That's interesting. That's something I didn't know. Jack?
Fishing. Like going fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that again
nice and calm?
Tranquility is your you time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. just away from everything. Yeah.
I like that. Two good answers there. Andrew, Chris wants to know, go with you first. You on this, Jack, actually. You can answer this. Do you think we'll buy Harvey Elliott?
I don't think we will. I can't see us paying the kind of money that Liverpool would want. I think he's a decent player, don't get me wrong, but I think we'll probably be shopping in different markets this summer. I think we'll be looking at South America and France, I think, rather than other Premier League players.
Yeah. Colin Shingler said, what players will you keep? What would you sell? We've kind of covered that a little bit earlier in the show under the transfer things. We're not going to go to that one, but thanks for asking the question. But you can get a gist of that if you're just catching up. Just having a look down. Let's see if there's any more questions before we finish for the night. Loads of people answering in the thing their questions. Oh, Michael Hall, question for Sutty. Do you think we can make 7th to 4th next season?
Yes.
That's a yes. So I like that positivity, mate. I'm loving that. So
I'm not so sure about 4th, but I think this is my take on it. I said this on the way home yesterday. We were going home yesterday, and I know people want us to get in the Champions League and all this. I would love to go in the Farmers League, to go to all these little obscure countries and grounds.
The Conference League.
Yeah, you're never going to get a chance to go in that. And I think that we could win it.
Yeah.
And if we won that, that would be huge for us. If West Ham can win it, and let's be honest, they're shit. If they can win it, so can we.
They beat Man United today, didn't they? But they're
even more shit, Dave.
I know. Christine's asking, where can you find the link for Match Bingo? It is in the description under this video, mate. So if you look for that, it's just under the description. You'll be able to click the link on that, and you'll be able to download it. And what I'll also do for you, just for you, if I can, well, I ain't gonna have time to do that. I'll put QR code on, but it's in the link underneath. Let's have a look. I think that's all. That's all the questions for tonight. Big thank you again to Creation Wolf. Thank you if you've hit that subscribe button. As I say, it helps us out. Much appreciated. Thanks if you've hit a like. Obviously, there'll be loads watching up on catch up as well. And big thank you to Jack, Sutty, everyone that's contributed in the chat. I've sent in videos or come on live. Good old Oz. And just leave us with one final sentence to finish on Jack and Sutty, and then we'll call it a night.
Yesterday was one of those days. Keep the faith, and we'll turn it round.
Fantastic, Sutty.
I never thought I'd be saying this, Dave, but trust in this man's process.
Trust in the process.
This man's process.
Oh, one thing to finish on. The Forest obviously drew today. Good old Nuno. The owner comes on the pitch and in front of everyone, the whole stadium and all the TV cameras, starts having a right old pop at Nuno. What do you make of that?
I'd have told him, up yours, Gaffer. My stock's as high as anything now. I'll get another job. You fight relegation next year.
I couldn't believe what he's done for that club this year. Jack?
What an idiot.
Yeah. It's the kind of, you do it in private, don't you? I think they've said it was about the substitution, wasn't it? The medical team told him he could carry on playing, so they subbed someone else off, and then he had to whatever. But you do it in private, But I think that owner, that he's got a bit of a habit of putting his foot in it and coming across as a bit of a knobhead. So, but I think, like Sutty said, I think the majority of the footballing world will be on Nuno's side in that battle.
100%. So what he's done,
I think he's put himself in a bit of a sticky wicket there, hasn't he? Because there's rumours in the week that Nuno might be going back to Saudi, and I think if he left Forest, I think they'd really tumble down the league. So,
yeah,
you know,
100%.
That owner's as dodgy as they come, I tell you.
Oh yeah.
Oh, fantastic. A great way to finish the show. Anyway, guys, thank you ever so much for joining us here on Always Wolves. Thank you if you subscribe, like, comment. If you're listening back on the podcast, all the links will be below as well. Hit the follow us on the podcast too. For myself, Sooty, Jack, and all the team here at Always Wolves. Always Wolves.
Always Wolves.